Welcome everybody to another video of Ancient Greece Reloaded. Today we will talk about the famous Chrysomallus, the flying golden ram, and the story of the constellation of Aries. By the way, if you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so stay tuned for upcoming videos. Almost everyone has heard the fantastic and epic tale of the Golden Fleece, wherein Jason, the heir to the throne of Hercules, and his Avenger-like team of awesome heroes, heroines, musicians, magicians, and the demigods sail off in their killer boat the Argo, in search of a golden fleece with magical powers. In other words, the skin of a ram that had real-life golden hair, as well as power of healing anyone who got wrapped up with it. Held by King Aeetes of Colchis, Jason and his band of adventurers had to collaborate with his daughter Medea, fight off flame-belching bulls, and go head-to-head with Sparti, undead soldiers who rose up out of the ground and commanded by the king to wipe the heroes out, to even get to the fleece. And even then, they had to deal with the beastly dragon that guarded the fleece in a sacred grove dedicated to Ares, the god of war. In the end, Jason triumphs, snatching the fleece, getting the girl, and escaping the clutches of Aeetes to sail back to Olympus, kick the snot out of his evil uncle and gain the throne, or sort of. In any case, it's an epic story that remains one of the highlights of Greek mythology. However, few people ask the question, what exactly is the Golden Fleece? Where did it come from? How did it come to be hanging in a tree in a forest grove, protected by a giant snake-like dragon? Well, the fleece does have a background story. See, it wasn't always that and magical, at least not in the context of how it was used in the story. The fleece once belonged to a very alive and completely radical creature named Chrysomallus, a golden ram who sported a set of slick, graceful wings, allowing it to fly hither and yon all over the Aegean Sea. How it actually got Colchis is another interesting tale. To unravel the backstory of Chrysomallus, you need to backtrack to another tale, one that involves Zeus, the king of the gods, his wife Hera, and a very naughty king named Ixion, who had a plan to seduce Hera into a corner for a little afternoon make-out session, in Zeus' own digs at Olympus. Hera caught wind of the rather sleazy Ixion's plan, told Zeus, who naturally got rather ticked off, and convinced her husband to act, which of course he did. Taking a bit of clout, Zeus fashioned a fake Hera that looked every bit as real as the original out of it, and created cloud nymph he named Nephele, which he planned to use as a decoy to trap the dishonest king. Ixion wound up having a romantic interlude with Nephele, thinking the cloud nymph was Hera. Zeus caught him in the act and had him sent to Tartarus for an eternity of torture, but that left poor Nephele, who had only been created to be used as a tool, pregnant with Ixion's jits. Sure enough, in a supernatural birth fit for Greek mythology, she later gave birth to the first centaurs, the half-man, half-horse warriors that inhabited many other stories. That was bad enough for the sad Nephele, but it was about to get even more tragic. Just when things were looking up, after Zeus had left her loose on the earth to find her destiny, she married a swarthy king by the name of Athamas, who got her pregnant again and then promptly left her for a woman named Ino. Poor rainy day cloudy Nephele just couldn't catch a whiff of good luck, though she did give birth to twins, Phrixus and Helle, who were really quite good kids. The problem? Ino, the stepmother, the woman that Athamas eventually had married, wanted the kids dead. She didn't want any reminders that her new hubby had had anything to do with Nephele. Worse yet, she decided to offer them up as a sacrifice to the gods, and had hatched a devilish plot to make it happen so that her hands were clean. Ino secretly roasted all the town's crop seeds so they would never grow. The town's farmers, terrified of the famine and starvation they knew would come because of this, went over to the nearby oracle and asked what they should do to solve the problem. Nevertheless, Ino was one step ahead of them, as she had bribed the men sent to the oracle to go, come back and lie about what they had heard. For a hefty reward, she had them tell the rest of the townfolk that tell the others that in order for the town to survive, the oracle and the gods required the sacrifice of poor Phrixus and Helle. Nephele, despite her woes, shortcomings and bad luck, was a dang good mom and prayed to the gods for assistance in the matter. Zeus must have felt guilty about the whole using her as a decoy to get pregnant thing, because he made sure help came swiftly, in the form of a glorious golden wooled and ivory winged ram. Yep, Chrysomallus had arrived. Just as the axe was about to fall, Chrysomallus swooped in and allowed the twins to climb up on his back, and then took off for the skies, much to the dismay of Ino and her poles back on the ground. Chrysomallus instructed the two not, and under any circumstances, to look down at the ground as they flew. Things went well for most of the journey when Helle just couldn't help herself any longer and gazed down, upon the vast sea that Chrysomallus was zipping across at subsonic speeds. That did it as she slipped right off his back and toppled thousands of feet to her death in the waters far below. In honor of Helle though, the ancient Greeks named that portion of the sea the Hellespont, Sea of Helle, which is today the sea that separates Europe from Asia. Phrixus, devastated by the loss of his twin sister, still somehow managed to hang on for dear life, and not much later, Chrysomallus began his descent into the mysterious city-state of Colchis, at the eastern end of the Black Sea. Upon landing, Chrysomallus gave Phrixus a very strange command. The boy was to take him to a nearby grove deep in the woods, a grove sacred to the god of war, Aries, and sacrifice him there. Yep, the ram was basically committing suicide here. Afterwards, Phrixus was to hang the hide of the ram over the branch of a large tree in the middle of the grove, where it would, from there on, be known as the Golden Fleece, an object so magical powerful that it could heal any wound. Phrixus, a little unsure as to why of the whole thing, did as he was told and sacrificed the ram in the name of Zeus. For his awesome part in the rescue mission, Chrysomallus' soul was given the ultimate reward of being placed in the skies above the earth as the constellation of Aries, the ram. Phrixus wandered on into Colchis, where he was greeted by the king of the joint, King Aeetes, a demigod son of Helios. The two must have hit it off well, because Aeetes hooked Phrixus up with his own daughter, Chalciope, and Phrixus gave over the fleece to Aeetes, who made sure the remains of the ram would stay in the grove, which was inside his kingdom. He was so done with keeping the fleece in one place that he prayed to Ares to deliver a protector for it. Ares was only too eager to oblige and sent a vicious, razor-toothed dragon that never slept as the guardian of the grove. Problem solved. And that's how things stayed until Jason and the Argonauts showed up years later in their quest to steal the fleece for their own quest, but that's a whole other story. Let us finish with the following saying: if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. Marcus Aurelius. That being said, remember guys to hit the like button and to subscribe to our channel, it would help us a lot. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for upcoming videos.